All right, let's talk about BYU's tight end position. Now, this is a group that has got a lot of potential in it. And what I mean by that is there are a lot of stars in terms of the star ratings of guys coming in from the high school ranks. There's a lot of proven production with at least one player who I think is on his way out in Isaac Rex. And there's a lot of question marks as well about the remaining guys in the room. Can they live up to the expectations of them and really take over in the absence of a guy like Isaac Rex? So let's start off. Isaac Rex obviously is a legend for BYU. He now holds the career mark for touchdowns for a BYU tight end in his career. He still has a year of eligibility if he so desires to come back to play for BYU, but everything I am hearing and or kind of noticing with him is that he has all but said his goodbyes to the BYU football program. It is awful in many respects that his final play potentially for BYU was that fumble in that loss to Oklahoma State. That is a really, really rough way to go out. Obviously, he was in tears after the game, and I understand why, because he's emotional, probably thinking, that's how I'm going to go out in my BYU career, trying to make a play, and I get it stripped out from me, and my knee lands on the foot of another guy when I could have been down. Just brutal break, but nothing should take away from the fact that Isaac Rex has been the guy for BYU at tight end. I said earlier on today's show, it's really been a position group of Isaac Rex and who else? The funny thing about it is Isaac Rex, many of us point back to his 2020 campaign when he broke onto the scene. Would he have 12 touchdown catches that year with Zach Wilson slinging the rock all over the field? And many of us thought, man, he's never going to reprise that type of numbers. This past year, folks, he really approached those numbers and got really close to those numbers once again. I don't know what his NFL prospects are going to be, but if it is his time to move on from the BYU football program, got nothing but the utmost respect for Isaac Rex. He has been an incredible representative of this university. You can tell he absolutely has loved his time as a BYU Cougar. He's talked about the fact that he grew up a BYU fan. His dad obviously was a BYU legend in his own right. His younger brother Preston's on the BYU roster right now as a defensive back. It's a family affair when it comes to the Isaac Rex family, and we wish him nothing but the best as he moves forward here with his career, if that is ultimately where it's going to land. Now, that leaves a hole in BYU's lineup, like unlike many in BYU's lineup right now, is it when Isaac Rex, if he moves on, who steps up in his absence? Is it Ethan Erickson? Is it Mata'ava Ta'ase? Is it Anthony Olson? Is it Ray Paulo? Is it Jackson Bowers? There are so many bodies here for BYU that feel like they have a lot of potential, but the production is in severe lacking territory. You just don't have a lot of proven options. The hope is that Jackson Bowers will put it together this offseason, get in the weight room, transform his body, really improve upon his God-given talent as a tight end, and maybe he can emerge next spring in spring camp and really take over his position group. Maybe Ethan Erickson has put all of his injury woes that cost him most of this season before he came back late in the season, and he can really emerge as a solid receiving threat for BYU. There's always been that thought that he is like just waiting to break out. It's getting late in his career. I think he's going to be officially a junior, I think, this year. He's got to make a move. He's going to do that. Mata'ava Ta'ase, there was so much promise, it felt like, going into the season from him, but there was no production of really any note. And same thing with Ray Paulo. A lot of people thought that he could come in and really be the next Mason Wake type of player. Neither one of them really lived up to the expectations. They were solid at points in terms of the run blocking, but by and large, the run blocking from BYU's tight ends and their blocking in general was subpar this season. I think that might be part of the reason why Steve Clark ultimately was let go of his position. The production was not there across the board from this tight end group. You also have other tight ends on this list, including Anthony Olson, who's a walk-on that a lot of people think is an athletic marvel. Can he realize his potential? Bentley Redden is back on the roster for BYU after originally coming back from a LDS mission, a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and deciding that he didn't necessarily want to play football once again. He is back on the roster. He's a freshman. Who knows what the future holds for him? You also have Nason Coleman, a former 3-star prospect who walked on to BYU as well. What can he prove? And then, like I said, Jackson Bowers is a 4-star prospect. Can you get more out of him during this offseason period? Can you get him to really show up in spring ball and really show what he's capable of? You also have guys in the pipeline like a Reiner Swanson, another 4-star prospect out of Southern California down there. Can he be the guy for BYU? Like I said, there are so many names here of all of these tight ends, and it feels like, okay, there is potential. Every one of the guys, you have something you can point to and think, okay, there's potential. The problem is potential is just that. It's potential. You need to see proven production out there from this BYU tight end group. It is my sincere hope that Ethan Erickson and Jackson Bowers take this offseason very seriously, and they come into spring ball absolutely hell-bent on making sure that position group is theirs. Mata'aba Ta'ase and Ray Paulo should have that same thought in their roles. Mason Fakahua, a guy I forgot to mention earlier on as well. Mason Fakahua has been around this program for quite a while, but got supplanted at that fullback, H-back role by Ray Paulo. Does he respond in any degree and really kind of maybe earn some more playing time on the football field? Spring is going to be a very critical time for all these guys to prove what they're capable of because, by the way, they're going to have a new position coach coaching them up. No matter if it's a combined coach who coaches offensive line and tight ends, or if it's an individual tight ends coach, they're going to have to improve and obviously show they're capable to that new coach if they want to earn playing time on the football field. Steve Clark probably had a pecking order in his mind of what he kind of thought the next next few guys in his mind in terms of the pipeline for BYU, but he's out of the program now. So obviously there is going to be holes here for BYU's tight ends, and the opportunity exists for all of them to go out and show what they're capable of. So that brings me to my overall conclusion from this past season for BYU tight ends group. It wasn't enough. Like I'll say it once again. It was Isaac Rex and a bunch of dudes. That is sad to say because there is, like I said, there's a lot of names on that list you'd like to think are better than what they put on the football field this year. So the tight ends group, similar to the quarterback position, which we talked about on yesterday's podcast, is I would give a letter grade to the tight ends group. I'll give him a C, and I'll give the C only because Isaac Rex's production, like I said, approached what he had done as a freshman when he really bust onto the scene. He has proven that he has recovered as close to a full 100% as he could from that horrific ankle injury. But the sad part is the other guys around him did not step up to any significant degree and help him out. Had they done that, the fortunes of BYU's football season may have been a little bit different. I can't say that it would have made all the difference, and obviously it would have gotten BYU a 6th win out there because the whole thing is if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. I get all of that. But the thing is, I'll give him a C, but it's just not good enough. And now when you lose Isaac Rex, what does that letter grade drop to? Like a D minus? And now you've got a whole big question mark there. Does BYU potentially go into the transfer portal market and bring in a proven tight end if they can find one out there? It's not another realm of possibility for BYU as well. So the other thing about this is will there be defections out of the football program because of Steve Clark's decision to step aside from BYU? That wouldn't surprise me either. Could Ryder Swanson ultimately decide that he wants to go elsewhere? Maybe so, but he sounds similar to what Isaac Rex is, where BYU is kind of in his blood. It's where he's always wanted to be. Could Jackson Bowers be upset with his lack of playing time as a freshman and decide, you know what? This is for the birds. I'm moving on. Could Anthony Olsen, could Ethan Erickson, could any of these guys decide that they want to go and try playing elsewhere, similar to former BYU tight end Dallin Holker, who found a great role for himself on a middling program like Colorado State, but absolutely was the number one option like he always desired to be for that football program. Could 1 or 2 or 3 of these guys ultimately decide to do that? It's not out of the realm of possibility. So there's a lot of intrigue here and a lot to track when it comes to this tight end position for BYU. And we'll see ultimately who ultimately gets the new job as their position coach and who ultimately is still on the roster. We are still under a week away from the transfer portal opening next Monday, December 4th. And we are already seeing a bevy of names, particularly quarterback talent, hitting the portal or announcing they're going to go into the portal right away. We already saw Michael Daly announce from BYU officially that he's leaving the football program, and you wish him well. He's a guy I would have tried out at tight end myself just to see if you could get anything out of him. But nonetheless, it's a crazy, crazy time, and it really feels like it's only going to get a little bit crazier before it calms down. And, of course, we'll have you covered every single day right here on Locked On Cougars.